Hi, Catherine Clover from Hedge Rich Adventures here. Today I'm on the towpath and I'm going to show you what you can eat along the towpath on the British waterway. So behind me I've got some hazel and the leaves have just come out. I'm going to show you what you can do with those. So here we are. This is mid-April, so the leaves have started coming out on the trees. So quite a lot of these leaves are actually edible. Not all of them, but here's one that is. So this is hazel, and these are new young hazel leaves that have just come out. Really tender. Hazel leaves have sort of a regular shape. Quite often one back lobe will be bigger than the other. They've got serrations all around them, a sort of wobbly edge, and the bark on hazel is sort of bronzy. You can see little speckles on it, and it's very bendy. Obviously, if you're not sure, don't eat it, but this is a fairly easy one to identify. And what I like to do with this is I wait till these are a little bit bigger. These are a bit too small at the moment, and I make sushi with them, and I use these to wrap the sushi instead of nori sheets, and that works really well. And I've also used these to wrap biscuits in and cook them on a slate over the campfire, and they print their leaf pattern into the biscuits. Little hazelnut cookies with hazelnut leaf wrap. Yeah, and that gives them a really lovely texture. So hazel leaves, you can put them in a little salad. These are very new, so you could shred them up and add them to salads. So I forgot to add, if you want to use these, they're quite tough, even when they're young. They're quite tough leaves. They're much tougher than something like lime, which you can just eat raw. So what I like to do with these is I'll cook them in a little bit of vinegar, and that softens them, and it makes them a bit less bitter, and easier for humans to digest. So that is what I do. I'll boil them in just enough water to cover with a bit of cider vinegar, and that works a treat. So just a bit further along the canal, we've got some mahonia. So you can see this behind me. You've got these lovely prickly leaves. Well, they're not that lovely, to be honest. Prickly leaves, and very tough. We don't eat the leaves. I've been eating the flowers of these because they're quite citrusy. The Latin for this is mahonia, so it's basically called the same in its common name, also known as Oregon grape. It's planted widely in this country, so this isn't actually a natural plant. This isn't actually a native, but you can eat the flowers, and these berries aren't ripe yet, but they will go pinky purple, and then they'll be ready to eat. Are they good? Jury's out. They're a bit insipid, I find. I have used them in a mocktail and in gin. They're all right. So a bit further on by this dog poo bin, we might be picking this one. Reference only. Here we've got a member of the cabbage family, Brassicaceae. This is what's known as a hedge mustard. Sicimbrian is the Latin name. And it has, you'll see quite a lot of these, it's very common. It's got a sort of flattened lobe at the end. Typical cabbage family type leaf. I'll take one of these off to show you. So, a very deeply lobed leaf. Not quite pinnate, still little bits of it along the stem. So it is one whole leaf, you know, it's not leaflets. Ends in a sort of trifoliate, three-lobed top. Slightly bristly. This is quite mild in flavour compared to some of the other cabbage family. And also a good thing to know is that the leaves look like this when it's young, or in the winter when you've got just the basal rosette. As it grows taller, the leaves become more pointed. So I'll try and find one here for you. They become a little bit more pointed here, and as it grows older still, the leaves will get even more pointed. So it can actually look like two separate plants because of that. But once you know, you know. And this is a lovely juicy green, very tender. So this is a really good one for salsa verde, for sauces. What else have I know? Stir fries, because it really doesn't need much cooking. It can be eaten raw, but you do need to watch where you're getting it from. And always pick above 15 centimetres off the ground, just to avoid ratweed. Give it a good rinse and off you go. So as I was saying, I've actually just gone a couple of feet further down and found a more mature hedge mustard or Cicimbrium. And this, you can really see here how the base leaflets are more rounded, and as you go further up they change shape. So you can see that's a really long terminal lobe at the end, and right at the top you've got these really spear shaped terminal lobes. So if you pick two leaves of that, two of those different leaves, one from here and one from the bottom, you would actually be really confused about whether it's the same plant. And the flowers are out on this one, so you've got those yellow 4-petaled cabbage family flowers. So behind me on this fence, okay, in front of me now because I'll turn around, we have hop vines. So literally just walking along the canal behind Jason's. These are again sort of naturalised in the UK. They're not native. They came over from Europe and they were used to brew beer, as most of us know. So they escaped and now they're naturalised in hedgerows. They like to climb things, so here they are climbing this fence. And at this time of year we can pick these tender 6 inches or so of the top shoots. It's quite bristly to the touch, but they are nice when you sort of saute them in a bit of butter and a bit of water and eat them as you would asparagus. Very distinctive trifoliate leaf, very matte, it's not shiny, it's got a serrated edge, quite even serrations, and it's climbing up this fence here. It kind of tastes a little bit hoppy when you eat it, so there's that as an indicator too. So we've got hops along here, and in the summer we'll have their straw bowls, which we can use to make beer or hot pillows. Just a bit further along this hedge, we've got Jason's fence. We have ground ivy, lovely little edible, also in the mint family. It's known as Glechoma hedera, that's the Latin name, and it was also known as ale hoof because the leaves are shaped like little hooves, or cockle shells in my mind. You've got this beautiful, intense violet flowers and a musty smell. If you rub it, smell it. Oh, I mean, I like it, but not everyone does. Very sort of, there's a lot of a lot of aromatic oils in this plant, and quite high levels of iron and vitamin C. I like to make this into a tea, and I'll just pick the tops and I'll make sure I boil it for a few minutes because it grows close to the ground where rats could have run over it. And I'll also put it in jelly to give it a bit more of a complex taste, like a very sweet fruit jelly. I'll put some of this in and it will make it taste a bit more complex and a bit more sophisticated. I haven't tried making beer with it because that's quite complex and it involves more room than I have on my narrowboat, but who knows in the future. So that's ground ivy. So why is foraging near a watercourse, like a canal or a river or a stream, such a good idea? Well, first of all, there's a lot of biodiversity at the edge of things, and this is an edge. If you know anything about permaculture, the edges of things are where you have the most creativity and where you have the most biodiversity. There's water here, there's land here, there's sun, there's everything that's needed for a healthy, thriving ecosystem. Number two, there are quite strict laws in the UK about how far near a water system you can spray chemicals, i.e. weed killers, pesticides, other chemicals. You're not allowed to spray them near a watercourse because they will get into the water and affect the aquatic life and possibly our drinking water as well. So you can be fairly well assured that hedgerows right next to a watercourse are not going to be sprayed by anything. So that's a really good a point as well for foraging near a watercourse. And it's just, quite honestly, really relaxing. Point 3, lovely place to forage. You do need to be careful. There's a few cautions about foraging near water, mainly that near water there are rats and other things but mainly rats that we have an issue with. They can spread wild disease. So what you do is you just pick the tops of plants, the very tops, at least 15 centimetres above the ground. If you are going to pick lower than that, you need to wash them and cook them. You must cook them. Washing them is not enough on its own. With that, we'll carry on. Okay, here about 2 metres further on from our last clip, here we have another very useful edible and medicinal plant. So this plant, Symphaticum officinale, and this does have some cautions surrounding it as an edible plant, because it does contain pyrrolidazine alkaloids that can build up in your liver over time. So what I like to do is I'll only eat them a few times a year. They are very high in potassium and phosphorus. Some people like to drink them as a tea, but I'll make fritters. I'll get a few of these tender leaves in the centre. I'll get about 3 altogether and I'll tempura them. You can make other sort of gelatinous puddings with them. So one of my favourite spots here, this is an enormous patch of one of my favourite plants, Jack by the hedge, or garlic mustard. Look at all these babies right here, all the way down the bank. That's a lot of pesto right there. A lovely place to forage too. So I have talked about this in my earlier video that you can look at how to make Jack by the hedge pesto or Jack pesto. Cabbage family plant, really good one to start with if you're starting out in foraging. You'll see the flowers here, and they are white and 4-petaled. And a 4-petal flower generally means a brassica. You rub it, you'll smell it, you'll be able to smell a peppery, mustardy cabbage smell. And it very much tastes of mustardy cabbage. Really, really tasty plant if you like your punchy flavours. More on this in my next video. So here behind me there are so many wild edibles here along the waterway. It's impossible to go through them all in this video. Just a few that I'm using. Nettles, white dead nettles, cleavers, and cow parsley. So I'll do a sweep now so you can see what I mean. So here you are. We've got some white dead nettle, Lamium album. I use this a lot instead of mushrooms. We have nettles, which most people know about. You can make a lot of recipes with this. I make falafels, I make soup, I make yogurty nettles, Romany gypsy recipe with egg. I'll put them in omelettes, I put them with pretty much everything. I make tea, stew, curry. There is nothing you can't do with nettles. You can even use them to make cake. Well, I'm not a big cake lover, but other people have used them to make nettle and lemon cake. And here we have some cow parsley, which I went through in some of my other videos. Carrot family member. Be very sure of your identification. Not the best one to start with if you are new. So please do see my carrot family webinar. This I know is cow parsley. But there are other things that look similar to it that will actually send you to the hereafter in about 30 minutes. So this has fur at the nodes, no spots, just a nice pink blush, 2 to 3 times pinnet or divided leaves. That is cow parsley. Definitely look out for the down along the stem and little blousy flowers with some petals bigger than the other. So no foraging lesson would be complete without me showing you the difference between cow parsley and a lethally toxic plant. So just very quickly, because this is a quick video, this is a cow parsley leaf that I'm holding up in front of the camera here. 2 to 3 times divided. Generally quite a sort of bright grassy green colour. And you've got fine down on the stem. You've got a groove along the stem, like a little ditch. And that runs all the way down the stem. This actually gives cow parsley a triangular cross section, which you can see here. If I hold this, you see that? It's got a triangular cross section. It is hollow in the main stem when it gets older, but these leaf shoots should always have a triangular cross section. It will smell delicious, sort of asparagus-y, slightly peppery. No spots. Slight blush is okay. This is cow parsley. Now, this baby here is hemlock, and this is one of the most toxic plants in the UK. It grows much bigger than cow parsley once it is mature, but at this time of year, in sort of early spring towards May, June, it's quite small, and you can see the leaves are quite similar to the untrained eye. So can you see that these leaflets are very much more pinnate or divided than cow parsley? So this is your cow parsley, and this is your hemlock. At this stage in the year, quite bright grassy green as well. As it gets older, it will be more dark green and it's more shiny. And one of the golden identification features is if you look down the bottom of hemlock, you will see, I don't really like to touch it, it won't go through my skin, but I don't like touching it anyway. You will see purple red spots down the stem, and that tells you that you've got a hemlock. Hairless, smooth stem, purple red spots. There is another very toxic plant called hemlock water dropwort, Onanthe crocata, that tends to grow near water. It has sort of hawthorn shaped leaves, which are very divided and pinnate. Looks a bit like celery, and that does not have spots. It has a corrugated stem, like a ridge stem, and it's quite green, going to turquoise when it gets older. To me, that smells of bleach. So this one, hemlock, Conium maculatum. Maculatum means spotty. So again, cow parsley on the left. This is a baby hemlock. So you can see how small the leaves get. Cow parsley on the left, hemlock on the right. Do not eat. Big sick. If you do eat it, it's a 999 call. So it'll be rude to finish without showing you another edible leaf. that we can eat on the hedgerow on the way on the canal. So this is our native hawthorn, Crataegus monogyna, and all parts of this are edible, pretty much the leaves, the berries, the flowers. The flowers are called mayflowers, so we've got some here. Well, I mean, I like to use the berries mostly, but the leaves and the berries are both a cardiac tonic. They help regulate your heartbeat, especially in cases of cardiac arrhythmia from old age. The leaves can be used as a tea, and I like to cut them up and put them in potato salad because they're quite dry and a bit astringent. They go really well with wet things like potato salad. So hawthorn is a great edible. I have tried lacto fermenting it, and to be honest the results have not been that great. I'm not sure why that is. It could have been the wrong time of year. Could have been that I didn't put enough salt in. I'm going to try again. But you can also, once these are mature, these leaves are a bit soft at the moment. Once they're mature you can dry them and use them as a tea and keep them throughout the year. And that will keep for up to a year, and then you can get a fresh batch next summer. So my favourite thing to do with these right now is to chop them up really small when they're nice and tender and put them in potato salad. Or you can put them in something else like a soup or a stew, something wet. They taste okay, they're a bit astringent, but they are good for you and they're good for your heart. So I hope you've enjoyed my short video on Towpath wild edibles in April. What I will say is always forage sustainably, so only take a small amount of what you see. Only take the top parts of plants because it's illegal to uproot roots on public or private land unless you've got permission of the landowner. I wouldn't do that anywhere here because it would just ruin the look of the towpath. But if you've got permission and you want to get a bird uproot or something, or dandelion roots, you've got permission from the landowner, and it's where it's not going to disturb people, go for it. So at this time of year we are focusing on leaves, shoots, immature flower buds, and what you can make with those. So I hope you enjoyed my video. Like, subscribe and all that. hedgeridgeadventures.com.